Golden economy under President Trump has kicked off as Apple pledges to invest $500 billion in the U.S., which would create 20,000 jobs all across America.
The world's most valuable healthcare company, Eli Lilly, has also plans to invest $27 billion in the United States by building 4 new manufacturing plants. So maybe the tariffs are working, but we'll get into it. To talk more about it, William Luther is the director of the American Institute for Economic Research's Sound Money Project, and Brandon Arnold is an executive VP for the National Taxpayers Union. Good morning, gentlemen. Great to have you.
Good morning.
Great. So the golden age of opportunity is here, and so many companies are racing to make a sizable investment into America. What other companies do you think will follow and invest at such large numbers? Let's start with you, William.
Well, I think that what we're seeing from Apple is in part more of the same, and in part will reflect a general increase in investment over the next few years across the U.S. economy. So let's dig into the numbers. If you look at what Apple has done in recent years, they added around 20,000 jobs over the last 5 years. So this increase is an increase from around 4,000 jobs per year to 5,000 jobs per year. It's tempting to connect those to President Trump's tariffs and the threat of tariffs because those are very salient, but I suspect this has much more to do with strong property rights and reliable courts, those deep institutions that really make America great. And you can see that if you look at what they're planning to spend this $500 billion on, or at least a big chunk of that. They're building server facilities. They're building servers in Houston. That's the plan. Those servers, of course, are part of their Apple intelligence strategy. Apple, of course, is the company that really revolutionized the smartphone, and they're trying to make those smartphones even smarter with AI. But to do that, you have to have secure servers. And it's difficult to get those to trust that those servers are secure when they're produced abroad. So Apple is planning to make them here in the U.S.
Well, it makes sense. If you make goods here in the United States, no tariffs. If you don't, tariffs. So that's exactly what President Trump said yesterday at his cabinet meeting. But on to this. The House Republican spending bill passed, which will change the lives of many Americans for the better. Of course, now it's on to the Senate and then to President Trump's desk. The bill includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, just to name a few. Brandon, talk to us about what we can expect from this bill and how it will affect the economy.
Yeah, I mean, we have a long way to go before this bill actually takes effect, because all this does, the resolution that was passed in the House of Representatives earlier this week, this creates the framework from which we can enact a lot of those policies. A lot of policies, frankly, that will encourage more companies like Apple to make investments in the United States. But we have only cleared the first hurdle. We still have to get something through the Senate, and we still have to put together a really good tax bill that's not only going to incentivize more investment in the United States, also help American families who are struggling with high prices, but also hopefully get our nation's fiscal mess under control, cleaning up a lot of the red ink that has accumulated over the past several years.
Interesting. Well, there's a lot of things happening in our economy. The D.C. real estate market is collapsing as federal workers pack their bags. It's also occurring in Northern Virginia. House prices plunging after DOJ's widespread layoffs of federal employees that are trying to come and figure out whether they should go back into the office or actually go somewhere else and try to make a living. But according to the data from Redfin, a huge realtor, since November, the median home price in Washington, D.C. has declined 20%, falling from $699,000 to $560,000. That is a steep decline. Do you see housing prices continuing to fall, not only in that area of the country, but follow the same trends throughout? William.
Well, I think that a lot of Americans were expecting that interest rates were going to come down this year. And now the Federal Reserve is projecting that they're not going to come down, or not going to come down as far as was previously projected. So that makes it really difficult to find a buyer for your home. and consequently, I think we're seeing prices fall across the U.S. And that will likely continue until the path of those interest rates change. Now, the D.C. market, of course, is a little different. We have some reorganizing and perhaps some downsizing as well taking place in the federal government. Some of those folks are going to find jobs elsewhere and stay in the area. But others are going to have to relocate to find work, and that'll put downward pressure on prices as well.
Well, hopefully they move from Virginia, so that way Virginia can become more purple.
Good point. But Brandon, I mean, there are a lot of homes that are being put on the market in the millions of dollars. So it's clear these government workers were doing quite well. What do you make of the Doge layoffs? We don't have too much time, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, the layoffs are long overdue. We've seen government employment surge in recent years. The IRS, for instance, has hired tens of thousands of workers. So even as Elon Musk and others work to trim 7,000 employees or so from the IRS rolls, there's still going to be 10,000 more employees than they were back in 2023. So the federal government needs to be downsized. Hopefully that process is happening in earnest, and hopefully we're making smart and permanent cuts along the way.
Right.
Exactly.
William Luther, Brandon Arnold, great to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what happens next, folks? Coming up, the day's top headlines.
Alex Kramer joins us after the break.